What really annoyed me yesterday, I was reading The Case of the Little White Slaver, which is writing by Henry Ford about why smoking is evil. But I was thinking about this, I was reading it, and apparently, even when the tobacco says 100% additive free, like American Spirits, by law, they have to put fire retardants inside of the paper that you're smoking. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I thought, okay, some back history. I smoked 3 to 4 cigarettes for about 2 years, a couple years ago. But I was annoyed because I thought I was smoking American Spirits, which was no additives, so it was literally just the tobacco without a lot of the more harmful stuff, more addicting stuff they put into it. But I didn't realize they add the little bands you see on the cigarette paper are actually there to slow down the burn and stop it from burning in case the person is no longer inhaling on the cigarette. So I just have the chat up from ChatGPT where I found out about this. Natural American Spirit cigarettes are marketed as containing 100% additive-free tobacco, implying that they lack the numerous additives found in many other cigarette brands. However, it is important to note that while they may not include certain flavorings or preservatives, they are not entirely free from additives. For instance, federal regulation requires that all cigarettes sold in the U.S., including natural American Spirits, contain fire safety agents designed to reduce the risk of accidental fires. These agents are technically considered additives. Moreover, the absence of additives does not make the cigarette safer, the combustion of any tobacco. So that just goes on to talk about that a little bit more. Here we go. So then I asked it, does loose can tobacco have the same effect? Because one of the things I found personally when I was smoking is I started rolling my own cigarettes using I don't know, what's it, king paper, the stuff you use to roll joints, just like the natural hemp paper. And because it didn't affect my throat as much, it didn't affect my lungs as much when I smoked, and I found that when I was smoking and I was rolling my own cigarettes, I actually felt a lot better. And I was wondering what this was, but I didn't realize that they add chemicals to the paper. So even though they're like, these chemicals might not be toxic or they might not have any negative effects, I felt a huge difference between when I was smoking pre-rolled cigarettes and when I was rolling my own, with like, even with the same tobacco. But here we go. No, a loose can of tobacco. So I asked if loose cigarette tobacco has this in it. No, loose can tobacco, such as those of rolling cigarettes or for pipe tobacco, typically do not contain fire-safe agents that may be required in manufactured cigarettes. The fire-safe chemicals are added specifically to make cigarettes to comply with fire safety regulations, which aim to reduce the risk caused by unattained cigarettes. When using loose rolling tobacco, any fire-safe properties would depend on the paper used, not the tobacco itself. This means that loose tobacco generally does not have any fire-safe agents. And then it goes on to say, yeah, smoking's still bad for your health. I'm not saying go ahead and smoke, just don't smoke with pre-rolled cigarettes. Even though if you are going to smoke, I would highly recommend you switch over from pre-rolled cigarettes to rolling your own cigarettes from natural papers, but smoking's still bad for you. And some of the chemicals in it are sodium alginate, I think I'm pronouncing that right. It is a natural compound derived from seaweed. Arsenic's derived from apple seeds. I mean, natural compound doesn't really mean jack squat. And then ammonium phosphate. And then it goes on to talk about how while these agents help reduce the risk of accidental fires, they can produce additional toxins when burned. When ammonium phosphate and other fire-safe chemicals combust, they can release harmful byproducts, including carcinogenic compounds. The exact risk of fire-safe agents is complex because it's challenging to isolate their effects from the other thousands of toxic chemicals in cigarette smoke. Yeah, I mean, don't smoke, but if you are going to smoke, roll your own, because apparently they add crap into cigarettes that they advertise as additive-free, like natural tobacco. And I get that they're not adding to the tobacco, but they're adding to the paper. But I didn't realize that, so, like, I'm annoyed. Like, I'm annoyed that even though I had a bad habit and I was trying to limit my exposure to chemicals and bad compounds when I was doing the habit, even though I was paying extra money for American Spirit cigarettes, I was still unknowingly ingesting these chemicals because you're not required to put them on the label, even though the government requires that they be in the product themselves. So, and I can promise you there's a difference between, like, there's a noticeable difference even when you're smoking 3 or 4 a day, because I felt a lot better rolling my own cigarettes using hemp papers and just a giant can of tobacco versus smoking pre-rolls. But do research, because apparently they hide crap like this in it. They hide additives inside of most supplements that are actually harmful for your health. But they don't talk about it because they don't regulate it or have to, because the quantities might be low enough that they're deemed safe. Anyways, peace out.